Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 376 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we have the full crew here this week, kicking things off with the owner of MTG Goldfish, Richard. How are you today, Richard?
Hey, Seth. Doing well. So many previews to get through to today.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, so many previews. Yeah, and just in the last couple of days, it seems like we've gotten half the set. I feel like we say this every podcast when we start spoiler season, but good Lord, his wizard spoiled a lot of cards in the last few days. But before we get into that, we got another co-host in Krim. Krim, how you doing today?
Well, I finally hit puberty, as you heard from last week, so now I'm like fully in an adult form. So, yeah. I'm actually I've also sprouted. I'm like 6'7" now, so it's pretty cool.
Whoa, full beard, 6'7".
Full beard, 6'7".
You're like a lumberjack or something. yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Definitely believe what you hear on the internet. That's for sure.
Anyway, today our big topic is spoilers, of course. We got a ton of New Capenna spoilers to talk about, and that's going to be most of the cast. Although, a little bit of news about the Atla-Fox trying to split off Wizards into its own company thing. So we want to mention that quickly before we get into spoilers, and then, of course, answer your fish mail questions. But before we do any of that, a reminder that our show today is brought to you by Card Conduit, and we've been telling you about Card Conduit, a great way to sell your Magic collection in their curated shipment service that lets you sell valuable cards with a reduced service fee for quite a while now. As long as your cards have a retail value of $2 or more, you can send in as many as you want and still just pay a 5% service fee. And as with all Card Conduit services, you don't gotta sort your cards, you don't gotta grade your cards, you get to skip all those hassles and just safely package everything up and ship them out. And you'll even get a detailed report with the results, so you can check out Card Conduit's curated shipment option as a way to buy list cards with fast processing, optimized prices, and the low service fee of just 5%. And right now you can even get another 10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/mtggoldfish. Card Conduit, they're the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. So thanks to Card Conduit for supporting the show, and let's talk some Magic, and let's do the Atla-Fox stuff first, and then we can dedicate the rest of the cast to spoilers. So you probably remember a few weeks ago, a couple months ago now, I don't know, time flies when we have spoilers all the time, but a little while ago, this Atla-Fox company posted this big thing trying to get Hasbro to split off Wizards into its own company, kind of take over on the theory that Wizards was doing really well and it was basically propping up the rest of Hasbro, and Wizards should be getting more resources than they were and all this stuff. Well, we finally kind of got to the end, I think, of this saga in the past week. Richard, what did we find out about the takeover attempt?
They said no. Would you like to sell and get rid of the most profitable part of your company? And Hasbro was like, no, thank you.
Yes, that is basically correct, which I guess is kind of predictable. Isn't that what we said when we first talked about this months ago? We're like, why would Hasbro ever do this? Like, if what Atla-Fox is saying is true, and it's like the only good thing in Hasbro, and it's making all their money, why would Hasbro even consider that? So yeah, Hasbro kind of no-sirred the idea of splitting off Wizards, and they went as far as to add more board members, but they added board members who were not the ones that Atla-Fox wanted. They just added more of their own people. So I don't know if that's like snubbing their nose at them and being like, hey, like we're going to add who we want. But yeah, so I think that's probably over with at this point, which I don't know. I was kind of in the camp where I wasn't sure any of this would actually matter in the long run anyway, as far as from a player's perspective, would it actually change if this actually happened and Atla-Fox managed to split off Wizards into its own company. But it was an interesting topic for a couple months at least.
So my understanding from watching Succession is that everyone in favor of this proposal is now gone and ousted from the company. So this is the last we'll ever hear of this.
Yeah, I assume. What do you think about this, Krim? Any thoughts?
I forgot why it happened, to be honest with you. I just remember that John Finkel. That's all I know. That's like John Finkel. That's about it.
We were going to fix like Pro Magic or something, fix the Arena client. We were...
It was...
Okay. We did some very low-level things with this takeover.
Was that what's gonna happen? I don't know if that would have. Well, okay. Well, you know what? Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they tried though, but yeah, I'm not really surprised, right? If I sell off my most profitable thing, especially for I don't know what they could have offered them. Like there's just no way, right?
And the funny thing is, I feel like a lot of the stuff that Atlafox wanted, or at least some of it, has kind of happened anyway. Like the Wizard CEO is now Hasbro CEO, so there's kind of like a somewhat Wizardsy person in charge of the whole thing now. They just announced organized play coming back and all that stuff, which was another one of their big things. So maybe, I don't know, maybe even though the takeover attempt and the splitting off of Wizards kind of fizzled and failed, maybe something good came out of it. Maybe some of the things that they wanted, maybe those things will happen anyway, because it seems like some of those things are taking place with organized play and so forth anyway. So maybe in a weird roundabout way, some good will come out of it, even if, none of the big changes that Atlafox pushed for are going to come true. Anyway, any other thoughts on any of that stuff before we get to the exciting world of New Capenna? All right, let's talk some spoilers. We got, oh my God, like half the set, more than half the set. I don't even know. I can't keep track of it anymore. We got 1 million cards. You can see them all over at mtgpreviews.com. But we're going to get through as many as we can today. So, Richard, why don't you take it away and guide us through some sweet, sweet spoilers?
All right. First up, a legendary artifact equipment at Mythic, Luxior Giada's Gift. 1 generic mana, so 1 mana value. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. Equip planeswalker 1 generic mana. Equip 3 generic mana.
This card's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so cool. This has got to be one of the coolest cards Wizards has designed in a while. Like, it's just so weird and sweet. Oh, I love this card.
It's such a fun card. I mean, like, think about this. Like, Bolas, I know. Bolas coming down, but he's got 9 counters. Karn, whatever, Liberated. That dude starts with like what, 11 probably, I don't know, 9 or something absurd like that. I just remember it was like unkillable and I usually conceded. So whatever it is, like these planeswalkers, I'm thinking of like the big ones, right? That's pretty sweet. But more importantly, as someone who has an Amanatu Super Friends deck, I can now pack this in there and also like I used to joke all the time that you'll never have to worry about like commander damage with me, but now you actually do. Right? Like, I could deal commander damage with Amanatu. Like, I don't know why I would want to turn my commander and all my planeswalkers into something that dies to removal, like plane removal, but regardless, the one thing that's nice is when I look at this card and I think of like how commander works, everyone's always trying to hit my planeswalkers, right? Well, since no one runs removal, well, I don't got to worry about it anymore, right? I can just turn my planeswalkers into creatures, and that's way different.
Yeah, that is one of the upsides of this card, is if your planeswalker is a creature, not a planeswalker, it can't get attacked anymore. So it's going to be really hard for it to die by its loyalty getting removed. On the other end, it does die to Doomblade now. Like, it turns on creature removal and wrath and stuff, which is that's the drawback.
It is a drawback, but also with the way Commander plays out, it almost might be an upside, right? Because that was always the biggest problem with like how like planeswalkers worked in Commander. And not only that, since every Commander deck runs an Urza Saga, now you can get this, right? You can just straight up look for this. So I think that's pretty sweet. And now I'm like looking at it, I'm thinking like, hold on, how does this work? Okay, I've got some like questions here, and okay, planeswalker counters, right? They are still going to have those loyalty counters. So then let's say if I have an Ozolith, does that mean that the Ozolith has loyalty counters?
Yes. And actually, one of my favorite tricks. Oh, go ahead, Grim. Sorry.
We'll see. Okay, so then it is going to work how I think it does then, right? I can take Ozolith counters and the loyalty counters on there and then move it onto a planeswalker.
Yes. And if you add like blink effects to your deck, it's actually, you can like build your own doubling season where you put this on your Nicole Bolas and then you blink it. So the counters go to the Ozolith and then you put it back on and go to combat and it doubles the counters and then you ultimate and win. So like that's a really neat shenanigan that you can pull off with this. I think this card's actually like, even outside of Commander, is like kind of legit. People have been talking about just the standard planeswalkers, like New Elspeth. The +1 on new Elspeth 3 Splendid, is +1, choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and a counter from among Flying, First Strike, Lifelink, and Vigilance.
Oh, wow.
If you put this on Elspeth, you can +1 on itself, and Elspeth's going to be a 9/9 the first turn, and it gets +4/+4 every time you +1 on it. So this is like quickly going to be huge. The Wandering Emperor also has a +1 that puts a counter on a creature.
Does that mean that Kaya like loops herself?
Hold up. When you equip, you can't activate loyalty anymore, right?
Oh,
No, you can. It
You
says it
can,
right
yes.
there.
Oh, it says in brackets.
Even if
loyalty, but it isn't a planeswalker anymore. Huh, interesting. But loyalty abilities can still be activated.
Yeah, loyalty abilities aren't attached to it being a planeswalker, apparently. It's some weird rules thing. But yeah, so you can still use your loyalty abilities.
Oh my God.
So I think this card's actually just like kind of legit.
Well, hold on. Is it though? Because like, oh, actually, it does work in like, let's just say a Wandering Emperor, right? Like Wandering Emperor decks that have creatures also play Wandering Emperor. There's lots of things that, you know, like that play that deck. And then the decks that would play Kaya also play creatures. So there's actually, okay, so it's not dead. It's not stone cold dead without the planeswalkers, what I'm wondering. And Kaya looping herself, good God, that is amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty cute. So I think that's got potential. Also, like, if you go back to Modern, this is another Devoted Druid combo. Like, you put this on Devoted Druid,
everything.
and you can tap it and untap it as much as you want. Okay, you find it with Urza Saga.
Combos with
so
that
maybe
card
you could go in
now.
like, and you can find it with Urza Saga or Stoneforge Mystic, so that's a possibility. Maybe Harden Scales, like just doubling the power on your Ravager or whatever. So I actually think this card can actually see legit play, like maybe all the way back to Modern, and do all those janky fun, like Planeswalker, turn your Planeswalkers into creatures with Mirror Box and clone them and blink them with the Ozolith, just like stuff we've never been able to do before, purely because this card exists.
Oh, I want to BM so hard. I want to not only like elk somebody's like commander or something like that with this, but I also want to like animate Oko and then beat you with it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where you can play Oko with this thing, but you gotta do it in vintage.
Now Oko,
Well, I don't know if that's gonna fly in vintage, but yeah.
Vintage and Commander is the only formats he's available in.
now Oko can elk himself.
Wow.
He can turn into a creature and elk it. Got him.
Oh wow, this card is very interesting though, design wise and whatnot. So this has got to be one of the coolest cards, and I'm sure we're all pretty excited to play with it. And like now that I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, yeah, it just the Planeswalkers in Standard that work with this right now. Oh, that's so sick.
All right. Speaking of Planeswalkers, we alluded to Elspeth Resplendent. 3 white, 5 mana value. Choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter, and a counter from among Flying, First Strike, Lifelink, or Vigilance on it. That's +1. -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. -7, create 5 3/3 angel creature tokens with flying. Starting loyalty 5. Of course, Wizards has so much text on the card they can't explain what a shield counter is. Do you guys know what a shield counter is?
Yeah, so it's essentially
yes.
you have Divine Shield from Hearthstone.
Is it really?
It's magic version is like Totem Armor, except it's Totem Armor that removes when the creature takes damage or is destroyed, rather than
Yeah, so it is Divine Shield. So you ping for 1.
It is
to get rid of
Divine
the
Shield.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry. I
So-
know I brought up Hearthstone. My bad. I know you can't do that here, but it is Divine Shield.
They should have
right?
just called it Divine Shield and we would all understand what it
that'd
means.
No, it would have been.
So Elspeth, I wasn't super excited about that card until they spoiled Luxor, and now I'm like, oh, that could actually be like a deck. Is Elspeth actually good?
No.
So the -3 is like, I don't know. There are good hits. You can get like Wedding Announcement and so forth, but there's just like some really strong Planeswalkers. Like it's competing with Lolth. Like the same decks that
Right.
might play Elspeth might want Lolth. There's Wandering Emperor and like the White Weenie decks. I don't think there's Wandering Emperor. So I kind of feel like this is just like a little bit overcosted and lacking in impact to really see much competitive play.
If this were 4 mana, would this still like I would then maybe like look at it, but you know, like at the same time, at 5 mana, no, this is not strong enough.
Okay, wait. how good is Divine Shield? Because isn't it insane in Magic? So in Hearthstone, it's like whatever. You send your like one drop in to ping it off, right? But in Magic, how are you knocking the shield off? You actually have to spend a full card.
I mean, yeah, like the +1 is like very good at protecting a threat, I guess. But I mean, Kaya kind of already does that, right? And
the +1 doesn't give a shield counter,
the
right? It's only the -3.
Yeah.
The only the
it's the
-3.
minus.
So,
Then never.
Yeah.
That's
But
definitely
you
not.
-3 to get your 3-drop into play, and then you +1 it, and now it's like a beefy 3-drop with Divine Shield. Is that
I mean,
good?
that's not
That's-
I mean, it's not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's like horrible, but I don't know. Just I keep thinking of Lolth and just like how good Lolth is, and how the same decks that would want Elspeth probably have Lolth, and I'm just like, it doesn't look like Lolth to me. Like I don't know. It's fine. Like it can do things, but does it do enough to actually find a home in Standard? I'm skeptical, honestly.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe not yet, or maybe there's just pieces that we haven't seen yet that make this card even better. But as of right now, this is, and I guess, and I quote, not that good. And when this takes over Standard, and I'm screaming for it to get banned for some odd reason, play this clip back to me, Richard. Thank you.
I think the Divine Shield part you guys are underestimating. I think it's actually insanely strong. So we'll see how this plays out. I actually think she's kind of decent. And plus, it's like 2 pluses and an ultimate, right? 5/3/3 Angels. So
Yeah, I mean that should be enough to win. The other thing I will say is it seems like Bant has a weird counter theme. Like we got this weird uncommon exotic pets that like makes 2 1/1 tokens, but then they each get a counter for every type of counter you have on the battlefield. So maybe part of Elspeth's power that we're not seeing yet is just going to be like putting +1/+1 counters and flying counters and first strike counters on your stuff, because there's other Bant cards that just care about you having as many different weird counters on the battlefield as possible. So maybe that's the other piece of the puzzle that we just haven't seen yet. So
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe it's better than we're seeing right now.
who's building the official first goldfish deck? Because you know that thing that spawns 2 tokens, right?
They are kind of goldfish looking. Yeah.
That's the closest we're getting to actual goldfish. We use Elspeth's +1. Don't they get like the other 1/1 counters that like I forgot what they read like you know the card I'm talking about? Have you've seen it, right? It's exotic pets. They create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens with when this creature can't be blocked. Then for each kind of counter among creatures you control, put a counter of that kind on either of those tokens. See, so there it is. Now we have people swimming with the fishes. Yeah, yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
Oh, but yeah, Elspeth would be good there.
all right. Speaking of Divine Shield, Falco Spara, Pact Weaver, 1 green, white blue. So 4 mana value. 3/3 legendary creature, bird demon at Mythic. Flying trample. When it enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on it, or it enters with a shield counter on it. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spells from the top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control, in addition to paying their other costs.
This card seems good, right? Like it's
Yeah.
This is either going to be my circle of loyalty, or this seems good.
I mean, so it's only a 3/3. I think really it's going to come down to the value of that shield counter. If like I haven't been valuing that very highly, but if that's actually like pretty powerful, then I think a lot of these cards get better, because when I read it, I'm like, oh, it's only a 3/3. A lot of the 4 mana flyers we have are like 4/4s, so it kind of just gets outclassed. But if that shield counter and the protection is actually pretty powerful and relevant, then I think it goes up in value. I do think you got to be in the right deck, though. Like maybe you got to be in the Elspeth deck, because to make it work, you do need to have a lot of counters on things that you can remove. Like if you don't have a lot of counters to play the stuff off the top of your library, then this is like kind of just underpowered, right? So I don't think you can just jam it in any deck. You got to be some sort of weird counter shenanigan deck to really take advantage of it.
Right, like depending on how good this, and like the diversity of counters and all that stuff, like I think this is a card that's gonna like excel in a deck that it like does that, and like is heavily dependent on that. But if a deck like that takes off, this has got to be somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, you play this, you play Dark Depths. You turn Dark Depths into a land with Nissa, and then you boom.
Yeah.
And then you
Ten
have
cards off the
20
top of the
spells
deck,
off the top of the
Marrelage.
deck. It's fine.
Yeah,
Got him, got
I
him,
mean,
yeah.
you've got a Nissa, so how could you not? Like, I mean, like this seems like it could be good, right? It just needs the right shell, and
You can't get lands off the top. I think that kills this. And like, I don't know, like the cards that you play off the
lands. You
top.
mean MDFCs?
Yeah, but you gotta cast them. Like you run out of mana, right? Like with these type of effects, you could always just play a land off the top to get the value, but here you can't. So I think this is too many hoops to jump through, and it's only a 3/3 without the ability to pump itself. So I actually don't think it's that good, even in the Elspeth deck. Like, why don't I just play like an actual card? So I'm not sure. I don't like it.
I really struggled with Bant cards from this set because some of the other color combinations have mechanics that you just read them and you're like, wow, that's really strong. Like Casualty is really strong. Connive is really strong. And then you get to all the Bant cards and it's like, oh, you get a shield counter. And I'm like, is that on the same level as like Casualty and Connive? Apparently Wizards thinks it is because that's like the main mechanic of Bant in this set. That's like a lot of their cards are doing that, but it just doesn't read as obviously powerful as like, oh, copy your spells by sacking something, or oh, like loot a bunch of times and grow your creatures. So I'm kind of in wait and see mode with all these Bant cards, really.
I mean, I'm also not exactly upset if Green takes an L for like the next 10 years. So,
Of course you aren't, Graham. Of course.
so
you aren't.
no, it's bad.
All right. On Nixilis, the adversary, 1 black and a red, 3 mana value, 3 starting loyalty, Casualty X. The copy isn't legendary and has starting loyalty X. As you cast the spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power X. When you do, copy the spell, the copy becomes a token. +1, each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, deal 1 damage to any target. -7, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life.
This card is like cracked, right? Like I think this card is like really good.
So you sack like a 5 power creature, you get a second Nixilis at 5 starting loyalty. Is that
Yeah, correct.
how I'm understanding?
And it's
So
non-legendary.
a 7 power creature is an instant ultimate.
Right.
And you have 2 Nixilises that need to be dealt with.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
this card is cracked,
Like
right?
what?
Like,
It is a 3
absolutely.
drop? Like what?
Right.
Yes. This card's absurd. It's so good. The casualty mechanic is so strong, but this card is really strong. Like, sure, the dream is you sack something big and instant ultimate, but even just sacking your Shambling Ghast or Eye Twitches and then plus oneing a bunch, like,
Yeah, like
you're going to drain your opponent. You're going to just empty their hand. Like, even that is like really insane. And we're in a standard where so many decks are already doing that. And standard's all about sacking Eye Twitches and Shambling Ghast and all this useless like fodder. Like, that's what standard decks are doing. So this card, I think it's just like an all-star. I think this card's got a chance in older formats too. Like, older formats got sack decks. You got Mayhem Devil decks. You got Cauldron Familiar decks. Like, this seems so easy to slot into sack decks like across formats and be just like so good.
Yeah, this card is absolutely absurd. I just don't know how. Like, this just can't resolve, right? Like legitimately, this spell just cannot resolve. But
It doesn't need to be a sack deck.
Like, how you
just
stop
sack
it?
anything, right? Like, you don't need to recur anything. You just literally sack anything, and you have 2 planeswalkers.
yeah. And that means immediately you get to +1 and your opponent's got to discard 2 and lose 2. And then, like, I guess if you have a demon or devil, sure, you gain 2. Why not?
Like, you just turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 double Nixilis. Isn't it, like, over?
I mean, I will say, so the +1 it is a little punisher-y. It's either lose 2 or discard, but still, like, even with that
unless
slight
they discard
drawback.
a card.
Yeah. So you get to choose one or the other,
Getting
but
domed
still,
for
like,
4 every turn on 2 planeswalkers is, like, you're pretty much
Yeah.
dying, right? Like,
how do you beat that? Like, in older formats, turn 1 Mana Dork into this, sack the Mana Dork, get 2 of them. Like, that's still so much. How do you deal with that? How do you deal that? In Krim mentioned you can't let it resolve. If they casualty it, what are you gonna have? 2 counters to stop the copy and the main one? Like, casualty just naturally gets through counter spells because it's gonna be really hard to stop both copies.
Oh wait,
It's so good. It's so good. This card's This card's busted. It's so busted.
Yeah, I think this card is like legitimately cracked. Holy cow. That's that. Yeah, even if it's not like they lose to and discard a card, they're like okay, it's still absurd.
Is there a world in this sucks? Like, do we see play all the way back, like the whole stack? Do you play this in Vintage?
So the only thing I'll say is like its individual abilities are like sort of medium. It's kind of like playing a janky tribal deck in Commander, where like you need a lot of them because your cards aren't that good. So you got to play Toski, so you have a ton of birds, and then maybe you can win. I feel like you really need both copies of Nixilis because its individual modes like aren't super strong, right? It's more that it comes down really fast and you can get 2 of them that makes it strong. So I don't know if I would go all the way back to like Vintage or whatever. I feel like you play this and your opponent's like, yeah, I'll take 4, and then they like combo off or something. Same with like Legacy, but I think it's got a shot back to
I think it's good
Modern.
back to Pioneer. Like comfortably I can probably say
Pioneer
back to
for
Pioneer.
sure. Well, and also like Pioneer and Historic both already have top tier sack decks. Modern doesn't really. And I feel like that's like the most obvious home. Yes, it can be good in other decks too, but I think in a sack deck, it's even better. Like you're making the devils that you can sacrifice and it works naturally with your support cards. So I think back to Pioneer is like a pretty safe bet. Modern maybe. And then beyond that, I'm kind of like, meh. What about Commander? Would you play this in Commander?
Probably not. Probably not.
This is your
It's not
Wheel of
that good.
Fortune set. 3 mana, draw 7, right?
This isn't that good in Commander.
That's what I'd be looking for. I'd want to be able to instantly use the copy to draw 7 cards. If you have a deck that can do that, then I think it's worth it. On the other hand, if you're just making people discard, like sacking the eye twitch and stuff, then
It's the whole table,
then it's not
so your
super
Nixilis
exciting.
are surviving on the turnaround.
Yeah.
Everyone has to do it.
Yeah,
I-
and people are gonna come at you. They don't want to discard or get drained.
All right. So, okay, what where do you put this at? Like, Oko, Hogak?
No.
I don't think it's. I think it's a very strong card, but I at this point, and maybe I'm going to be wrong and regret this, but I see it as very good. But it's something that I think only for me goes in sacrifice decks, and I expect it to be strong, but not like, oh my god, we got to ban this. But
Yeah.
maybe I
What
end
about
up
standard?
regretting.
Is this the first alchemy card on the block?
You know, I don't think so, right? Like, no. This is not the first thing to probably hit the alchemy block. I do think that it's very strong though.
It's. I think this might be one of the best standard cards from the set. It might be the best. It's close to. It's going to be on my top 10 list. Let's say at this point, I'm pretty confident this is going to rank pretty high in my top 10 list.
Oh, definitely.
But I really don't think it's like. I don't know. I don't see it as like bannable or nerfable yet, but maybe it'll play even more powerful than it looks, which then it'll be really scary because it already looks pretty powerful.
All right. Next up, Urubrask, Heretic Praetor. 3 red, so 5 mana value, 4/4 legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor at Mythic. Haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead, they exile the top card of the library. They may play it this turn.
Boy.
So it turns all of
this
your
card
opponent's
disappoints
draws into impulse draws.
Only the first card they draw, right? I think.
The next
only
one.
the
Yeah.
only
So the
their
first one.
Next time they would
okay.
draw.
This card kind of disappoints me. I was actually expecting more. I'm not even sure this is better than old Urubrask.
No,
like, sure,
Urubrask
it draws
is
you a
better.
card each turn, which is nice. But the ability of hating on your opponents, like, I guess it's kind of nice against control. They can't sit on their counters or instant
Yeah.
speed removal or whatever. But if it hit all draws instead of just the first one, I'd be a lot higher on it. Because then you could do, like, Dranith Magistrate locks or whatever. Like, there'd be different ways that you could actually prison your opponent out of the game. And I guess you can still sort of do that. But the fact that it only hits their first draw and not when they consider or activate a planeswalker or whatever, like, I don't know. I'm pretty mad on this card, actually.
Yeah, I think this card is extremely like underwhelming. I don't know. I I get it that, you know, the other ones, like, sure, Jin Gataxius and whatever Vorinclex or whatever are like really solid. This one's just bad. The old one is way better.
I mean, it is a 5 mana 4/4 haste that's card
So is
advantage
Goldspan.
during your.
Well, yeah,
During your
Goldspan
upkeep.
and like, we have flyers that like
Yeah.
do that right away.
But you
in
get
standards.
cards. You get
Not
cards.
necessarily. You
Does it
have to
count?
wait
I
a
mean, it has to
turn.
survive.
Yeah, it has to survive. It doesn't do enough. Like, I don't know. This just doesn't feel that good at all.
Maybe the top end of aggro, like some sort of mono red deck.
But wouldn't
I
mono
don't
red
know.
would just gold span, right?
Yeah, that's that. I keep coming back to that too. Like that feels like bad
The
gold,
gold
span.
standard.
As a control player, Graham, how annoying is this for you? Because when I read that last ability, I think, okay, this is to host control players. You can't just draw a counter and sit on it. Is that something that's really going to wreck your game plan if you're playing the control deck? Or are you just like, whatever, that doesn't actually matter?
Like if we're talking like 60 cards, right? 60 card formats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I don't really care.
You don't really care.
Yeah, like anything that I want is going to be instant speed, and it's like most of my decks, like most control decks now are also like removal heavy and not like counterspell heavy. So it's just like, cool. I will still use my Vanishing Verse.
Yeah. So I guess it just like messes with your timing a little bit. That's a
Right.
good point. I guess like Esper controls pretty planeswalkery, so you're just like jamming your stuff anyway. So we don't really have too many decks that are just like, oh, I got 16 counter spells and I'm just gonna sit back and like counter all your things. Like that's not really what standard control is like. So
Yeah.
what about like the locks? Is there any chance in like historic or like Dranith Magistrate locks, Uba Mask in modern? Like, is there any chance we see these
To lock
like, locks
one draw.
that keep you from? That's the problem, is it doesn't lock extra draws. It locks your draw step, but it doesn't keep you
Right.
from drawing extra cards somehow.
Yeah, see, no. Yeah, this is just not that good. They would have to reveal something really, like if you control an urubrask heretic praetor, you win the game, like, or something like that. Like, it has to be like 1 mana.
I think I'm mostly disappointed because when I saw Vorinclex, it was pretty jaw-dropping.
Right,
Like, that was
right.
6/6 doubling season, Trample Ace, all this stuff. When I saw Jin-Gitaxias, I was also kind of like, wow, like, that's a really powerful card if you get on the battlefield. And then I saw Urubrask, and I was just like, I don't even know if this is better than the old one. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. So it just looks bad compared to the other Praetors that they've done recently, I think, for me.
Fully agree.
All right. Next up, we have Vivian on the Hunt. 4 green, 6 mana value, 4 starting loyalty. +2, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature with mana value equal to 1, plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. +1, mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. -1, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token.
I mean, this is just, you're using it for the +2, right? Like you were trying to pod your way through your deck. Other than that, I mean, maybe the +1, but I don't know. I guess you can ultimate as soon as she comes down.
That's they don't even have trample.
Get that Rhino. I think this card's pretty good. It reminds me of, well, okay, so you get the birthing pod thing, obviously, which is cool, although little harder to combo with, I think, than a real birthing pod.
Right.
Although there are ways in modern. People have pointed out some of the combos where you like sack a 3-drop Felidare Guardian, blink this, sack the Felidare Guardian, get Karmic Guide, get back Felidare Guardian, blink this, sack that, get a Kiki Jiki copy, get back the Felidare Guardian, go infinite. So there are like pseudo combos, but it's 6 mana in modern, which is a lot. But what it reminds me of is 6 mana Garruk, that +1 mill 5, get all the creatures. Do you remember the Garruk that had, I think it was a +1 that did the same thing, except it didn't mill. It was just plus, look at your top 5 cards, take all the creatures. That's
you sure?
a lot
Wait,
of card advantage
isn't
in
that
a
a Johnny?
creature deck. Was it a Johnny? This is Garruk. It's the one that can
I thought it was
negative to put a green
+4
creature from your hand
cards,
into
though.
play.
Yeah, Caller of Beasts or whatever.
Yeah, Scholar Beast.
Was that? I thought that was 5 mana. Maybe?
I think that was also 6
Six-
mana.
6
I'm
mana.
looking it up right now.
It is. It is. You're
6
thinking of
mana
the core set.
+1. Yeah, reveal your top 5 cards, grab all the creatures, the rest go to the bottom. So I think like that was an okay standard card. Like just plussing to draw a bunch of cards. I think it's got a shot.
But that,
I think it's
no,
got a shot to be
no.
good.
That standard was a different standard, though. You could get away with
that
playing.
was a decade ago.
Right. That wasn't like 2 years ago. Garruk, Caller of Beasts in the current day, like, okay. The one thing that might have Garruk like doing work for me here is that it's -3, like puts a green creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, right? I mean, Vivian doesn't really do that. And I mean, you can say the 4/4 token or whatever, the 4/4 rhino.
It's just a 4/4 rhino every time.
Right. That's not as, yeah, no, I don't know about that. Like this. I'm very curious to see what deck would want this, right? Like maybe the mill and the pod aspect, because those are going to be like heavily, those must be really needed abilities, right? The ability to mill yourself or something like that, or to pod. But for right now, I just don't see anything that needs that, especially not at 6 mana.
Okay, so here's my home for it in standard. We have a lot of pieces for some sort of creature-y graveyard deck. We have like Old Gnawbones, we have Willow Geist, we got Sloggerk, we have all these cards all these creatures that want you to be getting cards in your graveyard. What about the top end of a deck like that? Like maybe that's the home, it's filling your graveyard, you're already creature heavy, so you're drawing a bunch of your random Willow Geists or Sloggerks or whatever. Worst case, you make some rhinos, you can pod stuff and get it to the graveyard and maybe reanimate it or something. Maybe.
Well, when I think about those decks though, like Old Gnawbones, Sloggerk, and stuff like that. What does their creature like top out at? Probably those threats, right? So that means you probably then need to have like 1 and 2 drops or something like that. I don't know. This because it works, like those decks work at a weird spot on the curve when you think of the creatures. Like how much is Sloggerk? Like 3 mana, right?
3, yeah.
Yeah, and then Old Gnawbones, that's the dude where you mill on your upkeep, right? The Golgari dude.
That's that's another one. That's Old Rust.
Oh, Rust. Okay,
or something.
And that
Gnawbones is the like 2 mana and X, and you like mill that many creatures from your deck, and it gets big based on the number of creatures in your graveyard.
Right. And then you would, see, so then that's a little bit awkward because that's an X card. And then, you have old Rusty Chain or whatever his name is.
Whatever.
Yeah, that dude.
Something like that.
So, like, the thing is, those are like a 3 mana. And I don't know. That means you're sacking your 2 drops. And at this point, like, I don't know. That doesn't feel like it's worth sinking 6 mana into Vivian for.
What about the pod ability? Can we do anything with the pod ability in standard? Like, sack a 6-drop, get a coma. Like, I don't see a ton of synergies for it. Like, I like this card, but
not yet.
I don't really know where it goes.
Not yet. Yeah, there's nothing here yet.
It's way too expensive at 6 mana to be podding. Like, are you really saving any mana or doing anything? And plus, your pod is very fragile. It can die, right? You can just kill Vivian or attack it. I don't know. 6 is way too expensive for what it's doing. It's like 6 mana, but you have to build around it and like warp your whole deck around it. Where I think that's like asking too much for your 6-drop. Your 6-drop really can just win by itself.
Like Professor Onyx is a 6-drop that is, I would say, pretty good, right? Like I would say she's way stronger than Vivian, and she doesn't get played, right? And that's because one of the things here is like I'm gonna spend my 6 mana and I'm gonna get Vanishing Verse, and it's gonna feel really bad.
Ooh, yeah, that is true. There is a lot of good removal for it. Well, maybe everyone's just overrating it based on the callback to Birthing Pod, because people see the Birthing Pod and think it's busted. I think I do that to some extent too. I'm like, oh, Birthing Pod is so sweet. There's got to be a way to use this. But then when you really dig down into it, it's like, I don't know. Maybe this actually isn't that powerful.
I mean, I don't even know how good Birthing Pod would be in standard. So,
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Birthing Pod is what, like 15 years old or something at this
point. Right.
That's a really long time ago.
So, I mean, that's what I mean. We just remember it fondly.
Ziatora, the Incinerator. 3 black, red, green. So 6 mana value. 6/6 legendary creature, demon dragon, flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens.
I like this card. I think this card's kind of cool. Is it good in standard? This is the top end of whatever Jund deck you're playing, right? Like this is going to be your top end. You're going to get like maybe some treasures, and then sure, maybe you have like a gold span or something and speed your way into like a flipped Tybalt, right? From Valky into Tybalt. Like I think this card has some play here because it's at the beginning of your end step. So you are going to sacrifice it right away.
Yeah. I mean, 6 mana is multicolored, but it is really powerful. Like, you're getting a Black Lotus, essentially, of treasure tokens, even better than a Black Lotus of treasure tokens. and you get to fling something at your opponent. The only thing I worry about is how much it costs. Like, is the deck that would want this going to want a 6-drop? I think that's kind of the question, but I don't know, like, we're in standard with these colors are Prosperous Innkeeper. It's sack your Chamelgas to Deadly Dispute. So you got all these treasures. It doesn't seem that hard to be getting this down like turn 4, turn 5 in standard. And then it's really big and like is going to close out the game quickly. And we got all these treasure synergies. So
And again,
I like it too. It probably like a 1 of or 2 of, I would assume, but it does do a lot of powerful things.
Yeah.
I'll give it a participation award. It showed up. It put in its best effort. It doesn't have haste. It's 6 mana. And your reasoning for it being good is you powered out on turn 3. Well, if you powered out a good 6-drop on turn 3, it'd be even better, right? So, I don't know. Is there something really big we can fling?
Not
Body of
really.
research.
The best case for this is the Asakatu of Nixilis or something. Like, I don't know.
What about Commander? Could it work in Commander? Like, obviously can work. How excited are you to play this as your Commander?
I think in a deck that wants this is probably, like right off the bat, we can all just say that it's Corvold, right?
Yeah, it would definitely. I kind of view it as like fair Corvold. Like if you're a Corvold fan, but you don't want to be his arch enemied, maybe this won't draw as much heat as Corvold would, but you can play it with the same cards basically.
Or in the 99, I mean, just like,
yeah.
I think this card is great in Commander. I think it's better than Commander than it is in Standard, but I don't know. I mean, Standard's the new set's not entirely spoiled yet. I do think there'd have to be a lot to make it worthwhile to like play 6 mana for this card, but this is something that is multicolored, and I cannot stress that enough because people are packing like 4 Vanishing Verses, right, nonstop. So I'm that's what I'm looking for at this set for, to break up the removal suit of most control decks, right? So now I can't just blindly add 4 Vanishing Verses. So and yeah, like I don't know, the ramping ability seems like it could be good, maybe.
Definitely. I think the question is, what are you ramping into?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's certainly powerful, but you're getting this down for 6 and then you're going to like 9 or 10. We really need like, I don't know, a Genesis Wave and Eldrazi. I wish we had some sort of like, okay, this is my big finisher. I play this, I sack something, I have all this mana, I cast that, it's going to win the game. But I don't know what that is in Standard.
4-color Reanimator in Standard. You reanimate Lord Xander and you sack him.
Ooh.
You fling them. Boom, to the face. Look at that. You've already gotten them to discard cards, and now you get them to sack half the non-land permanents. Rounded down.
Okay, I could get behind that. But hopefully, maybe we just need some huge finisher. I think that's what we're missing, is some huge finisher to slam into play with all the mana this can make. Or maybe it's dragons. Maybe that's how you do it. Maybe you're just like supporting Tiamat, and then you're casting Tiamat and using the treasures to like cast all the dragons you tutor up. Maybe something like that.
All right. Next up, we have Halo Fountain, 2 and a white, mythic artifact, white tap, untap a tapped creature you control, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token, white tap, untap 2 tapped creatures you control, draw a card, white, so 5 white mana symbols, tap, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You win the game.
Easy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have 15 creatures laying around?
How have you not
this
won?
card's sweet.
If you've had 15.
I mean, it is kind of the definition of win more, that last mode. Like if you have 15 creatures and you're not able to win without this, but really 1 mana to make a creature, that's not bad.
Right.
2 mana to draw a card in mono white in Commander, that's not bad. Plus, you're kind of like giving your creatures vigilance by untapping them. I think that last mode is like, that's for me. That's to build an against odds deck with.
I think
if you
in
ignore
Commander.
that mode, like in Commander, it could. Yeah, it definitely could in some sort of token deck in Commander. And it does kill everyone. It's not someone loses a game, it's you win the game. So if you pull it off, you do just like straight up win. But even without that mode, that's a decent amount of value, right? Or Richard, you're the mono white player. Like, Is this a card you'll just jam in your mono white decks in Commander?
No, why would I pay 5 mana and 2 untapped creatures or 2 tapped creatures to draw a card? This is horrendous. I would build around the last aspect, right? You could animate your lands or something, right? You can tap them for mana, and then that automatically makes them tap for you to untap. And you just need enough lands and creature tokens to win. So I can see that being a viable strategy, but I wouldn't play this for value. This like seems horrendous for the first 2 modes. You really need to be honing in on that last mode to try to win the game.
Standard? Any hope?
God, no. No.
Yeah. This does get got by Vanishing Verse.
Oh, not
and
even
it's just
that. No
really, really slow.
Even if like the Vanishing Verse, I'm not using it on this. you got it. You got it for a while.
Next up, we have Black Market Tycoon, red and a green, 2/2, creature, cat, rogue at rare. At the beginning of your upkeep, Black Market Tycoon deals 2 damage to you and to you for each treasure you control. Tap, create a treasure token.
You're in the colors to play this in Harmless Offering. If I see someone with Smothering Tithe, I'm giving this to them.
Yeah, or whoever casts the Dockside,
right,
you just, like, give it to him and you got him.
Here you go, you can
But
have
really,
this.
like, I really like this card. It's just like such a cool design because it's like Flores is just a 2-mana mana dork. It's a Paradise Steward or something. Because if you just spend the treasure every turn when you make it, it's exactly the same as having a mana dork. But then you get the ceiling that if you can take some damage, you can store up your treasures to have a big turn. It works with token doublers. It works with like Oni Cult Anvil decks in Standard or whatever. You're getting these treasures that you sacrifice to trigger your Anvil, your Mayhem Devils, or your Anointed Processions. So I actually think, like, even though this looks just like a mana dork, I think it's like actually a really, really cool design that has a lot of sneaky upsides. So you can play it like a mana dork, but then it can do all these other things too. You can even try to give it lifelink, like put a Shadow Sphere on it or something,
Speaking
and then you
of
don't care about the
Shadow,
damage.
You can play Jund Shadow. You just make as many treasures as you can, punch yourself into oblivion.
But I think this card's actually really sweet.
I don't know.
2 damage for each treasure. Yeah.
It's cool. I think it's a cool card. It's like very interesting design, very sweet art. But like gives me a huge Beastars vibe. But other than that, like I don't know. Like what?
It's gonna be good.
What am I playing this
gonna
in?
be good.
I think it'll be good. I think it's good in like Standard. I think it's gonna be good. Like I think it's very good in Commander. So yeah, you know what? This card's actually just really good.
What do you think, Richard?
So it's okay, a 2-mana mana dork at minimum with the ability to like storage counter, I guess, and like bank up for a big turn. Is that enough to be playable? So the best case is on turn 2, you play this. On turn 3, you bank up, 1 treasure token. And then on turn 4, you cast a 6-drop.
Yeah.
That's
good? Is this
something
playable?
that's pretty good. I mean, we've seen 2-mana mana dorks be pretty playable in the past.
I mean, they had
I feel like the
hexproof and
floor is
stuff
high
on them,
enough.
man. This is just a 2-mana 2/2, right?
I think it depends on
but
what format we're talking about here. I think that what do you think of this, strictly speaking, Standard?
Yeah, Standard. This is
I
Standard.
think this is great. I think it's great in Standard. I think in Standard, this is like a really solid card that I think is definitely worth it. There's just not a lot of other options. Like, there's not a ton of mana dorks. We have lots of synergies, like we were talking about with treasures. We got Zorns and Magdas, and we got Oni Called Anvils. So I feel like there's enough going on that this is a 2-drop that I would play in a lot of Standard decks.
I mean, yeah, I think this is good there, and like, I mean, you're already you're seeing them more in Mardu, right? You're seeing the Anvil decks, the Oni Anvil. But like, yeah, like, I guess they could add green just for this. It gives them more artifacts to sack. You know what? I think this is just okay, actually. As I think it's way better in Commander than anywhere else. But like 60 card formats, I think it's okay.
This turns off
I like
your
it that
dock
much in
side. Is
Commander.
it worth?
All right, just use all your treasures, or else you're in trouble.
I feel like in Commander, you got to be in a specific deck for it. Like, I don't know if I just play in a generic deck, because there's just so many ramp spells in Commander. Like, do I need this in Commander unless I actually like actively care about treasures or something? Or maybe the creature type, like Rin and Siri or whatever, the cat and dog deck because it's a cat. Like, but would you just play this as a generic mana dork? I kind of lean towards no.
I think I could see me playing this more in Commander than in a 60 card format.
I'd rather play Llanowar Elves. I'd rather get like the 1 mana faster, or if you really cared, you'd play the triple green dork that adds 3.
Oh god, the Llanowar Legion.
Right? Yeah, so you really need to be a treasure deck and care about those treasures.
Yeah, tokens, where if you have synergies with doubling season, like in the right archetypes, I think it could be really good in Commander. But in just like, oh, I'm Gruul, so I'm going to play this as a ramp spell, I think you probably got better options. And it's green, so you have all the green ramp too. So even if you, I don't know, that makes it even worse because you can just play a Kadama's Reach.
Yeah, actually, no. So if you care about treasures, you don't want this card because it's just actively killing you. So I actually take that back. You don't want to play this in Commander.
But what if you care about treasures and want a low life total? Then you got
treasures.
The infamous treasure Death Shadow deck in Commander. Yeah.
You use all your treasures to swap life totals. It's doable.
Oh, I like that idea.
All right. Maestros, Ascendancy, blue, black, red, enchantment at rare. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard by sacrificing a creature in addition to paying its other costs. If a spell cast this way would be put in your graveyard, exile it instead.
Okay, so if we're talking about this in Standard, I do wonder how good it is.
Really?
Because, all right, so we've got all of these things that are, I forgot the ability already, whatever, casualty, right? We have all these casualties. Mm-hmm. Is there something that is going to be constantly, in Grixis colors, churning out tokens or something? There's no Bitter Blossom.
Oh, Crim, we got Sedgemoor Witch, we got Poppet Stitcher.
Right.
You cast your spells, you get your token, you cast a spell.
Okay. So, I mean, those do help a little bit. I do like that. But I am a little bit worried that I have to sack a creature, right? Like, what am I like, with the amount of creatures I've sacrificed, couldn't I have just killed you with combat? Right,
I mean, mate, you do got to build around it. This isn't something you can just jam into like your, creature-free Nicol Bolas Grixis control deck or something. Like, that's not really going to get it done. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you could build a Grixis deck that was like Shambling Gas, Poppet Stitcher, Sedgemoor Witch, a bunch of spells, and just like go to town.
But then this does nothing if they remove our Sedgemoor Witch or our Poppet Stitcher. Right? Like what
that's true.
It's just this weird spot where I think you try to build around it and then you end up just getting blown up by things that people already play. Like a lot of. So I don't know. I think this Ascendancy is amazing in Commander, sure. I definitely believe this is going to be good in Commander. But in 60 card formats, I don't know how good this card is. As someone who jams a lot of Grixis and every archetype of it, I know when something isn't like greedy and it's being cute, and like this looks like a card that is being greedy and being cute and gonna more often than not, you're just gonna sit there with it.
Oh, that kind of scares me because I was really high on this card, but I also trust Crim's opinion of Grixis cards because Crim plays more Grixis than anyone I know. I mean, so you not being excited for it actually makes me a little nervous.
You just have to play creatures like rogues or something, right? Like a creature heavy deck, you're not going to remove everything, right?
Right. But I want my rogues, right? I don't want to just throw away my Thieves Guild Enforcer.
But presumably you're throwing it away, I guess, only during your turn. So
this is only during my turns.
So it has to be a proactive spell.
Right. So you're being aggressive, but how are you being aggressive if you throw away everything?
What if the spell you flashback makes creatures? Like some sort of token making spell.
Which would be great, but I'm thinking about it and it's like, well, what? Like what? No, right? Like
we don't have Grixis aggro, and then you like sack creatures for burn to punch through like the last bit of damage or something like that.
I mean, like, look,
or a draw spell,
don't get me wrong.
You sack a creature to like just refuel your hand.
I want to play with like Cormella cards like that, and like obviously this is great with if I can get back a Maestro's Charm and hit you for like Helix you again for 3, right? Like these are all great things that could happen, but I'm the first to tell you if I love a Grixis card, okay? And like this is one of the cards where I don't know if I'm that excited for in Standard.
I can't believe I like this Grixis card more than Krim. I think this card's going to be good. I think you got to do some deck building work. You can't just jam it in any deck. You do need creatures, but in the right shell, I think it's going to be good. Like it's like a Snapcaster every turn.
So you have Poppet Stitcher, you have Sedgemoor Witch, right? So because I've tried this, right? There's a lot of cards that like are great, right? Like trying to make those cards work, but the problem I ran into was the limited deck space. Right? Because then you have 8 cards, right? A lock. And then you have 4 ascendancies, right? Sure. 4 Shambling Guests. That's 16 cards. Now you have the rest of the spells. And you have to do a nice mixture of spells that are interactive, that helps slow down mono white while also good against like control. And against control, if you're just loaded with a bunch of like creatures, they just board wipe you and then you're actually in trouble again, right?
That's true. That's true.
It's weird. It's you I don't know. I mean, prove me wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong about this because Lord knows I'd be excited about it. But it just seems rough.
Okay, what about in older formats where you do have like Bitter Blossom, or you have the bad Bitter Blossom that makes the
Dreadhorde Invasion, look, even like Batter Blossom or whatever, Mediocre Blossom, whatever you want to call it, even that. Okay, that would help. Right, that would help. Okay, so we have something. We got something to cook here with, right? Like that's fine. Historic
then
has that.
You could just kind of play a control deck then. Like if you had 4 Bitter Blossoms in this, I guess you might need a little more creature production.
Play the Sedgemoor,
you'd be pretty close.
Right? You still play Sedgemoor, you still play the Poppet, and then you just add Dreadhorde
And plus
Invasion.
then you get like Young Pyromancer, maybe as an upgrade to Poppet Stitcher or something. Okay, Dreadhorde Arcanist, a little redundancy there.
I don't know. See, now you're running too many creatures, though, right?
Now you're running the unplayable modern cards.
Once you get to Dreadhorde Arcanist, then maybe you're just cutting the Ascendancy,
right?
And you trust the Arcanist is going to flash back your spells.
Exactly, and then you kind of non-bow yourself because then like Dreadhorde Arcanist requires you have a ton of spells, but it seems like you've just named like 16 to like 20 not spells, right? So, this is what I mean. This is the problem.
This is way too slow for older formats. It's only one turn, and you can't use it. If you could use it reactively, I think it'd be a lot better. Like you could use it to like dig back counter spells or something. But like offensively, what are you doing? Like thought seizing?
Okay. Blowing up your own board and then losing your own health to do it.
Commander, it's got to be good. It's like Kess.
Yeah,
it's literally
Commander, yes, definitely.
And you got all the janky make a token spells.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Commander, it should be good, right? If you're any sort of Grixis Spellslinger deck with Young Pyromancers and stuff, just jam it and it's going to be fine.
Full agree there.
Okay.
I mean, there's even a discussion to not play. You don't even have to be a Spellslinger deck, right? Because I wouldn't say I'm a Spellslinger deck, but I've got a lot of good spells that I don't mind casting again.
But you need creatures to sack. So you're going to have to have something.
I got creatures.
Young Pyromancer or something.
Okay, come on.
You're not going to sack your opposition agent. No, I know you. That's sticking around until one of us kills it.
Yeah. That's true.
All right. Next up, we have Evelyn the Covetous, 2 hybrid Dimir, black hybrid Rakdos. So 5 mana value of Grixis colors. Legendary creature, vampire rogue at rare, 2/5, flash. When Evelyn or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it. If it was exiled by an ability you controlled, and you may spend mana as though it were any mana, or as though it was any color to cast it.
This card's gas. I just built my Streffen deck. Boom, throw him out of the window. Don't need him anymore. I need this Evelyn. This Evelyn is now my new vampire deck. Oh my god, this is such a good. Oh, vampires, they're gonna do something different.
I do love this card in Commander. It is a really, really cool take on a Grixis vampire deck in Commander. We've never really had a good vampire Grixis Commander. There's a couple of vampires that are Grixis, but it's vampires that don't actually care about having vampires in your deck, so people just play them by default. I'm trying to think. There's like a horrible 8-drop that, whatever. But we've never really had a good Grixis vampire commander. This seems super fun as your vampire commander. You just get to steal everyone's cards. It's like an Itali almost, except you gotta cast the spells, you gotta spend mana, but still, it seems super fun.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Can you mill people? Is there like some infinite vampire loop that you can get going on?
There's no
Just
like
milling
grave
whatever?
crawler, if that's what you're thinking.
I was trying to figure out if there's a way to do it with the Bloodghast. I haven't been able to figure it out, but there might be some sort of like 5-card combo with Bloodghast that you could
probably
like make infinite land drops or something.
It probably involves like I don't know what's that Cloudstone Curio?
Yes, Cloudstone Curio and cost reductions that could do it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a way. I don't think there's an easy like super competitive way, but I'm sure if you're gonna put in the work, you can probably find a way to get infinite triggers. Although it hits you too, so you're also gonna mill yourself out. But then I guess you're doing it during your turn, so other people would draw first theoretically.
Correct.
Yeah. What about standard? Any chance?
I could see me playing a few of these for fun, but I don't know if it's a competitive.
Yeah. Even like vampires have kind of been a disappointment. I was thinking vampires were going to be legit after Innistrad, and they haven't really made it. And I don't feel like this
Or spirits.
solves vampires' issues from the Innistrad vampires. Like you can play for fun and it'd be cool, but I don't know if this all of a sudden makes vampires like a legit deck in standard. I'd be surprised.
All right, so that's all the time we have for spoilers. So there are a ton of cards. Check them out on mtgpreviews.com. And we'll be back next week to, I guess, wrap up the rest of preview season.
And I believe that brings us to the end of episode 376 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. So Richard, Cribb, thanks for hanging out. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Card Conduit for supporting the show. And we'll be back next week to talk about more spoilers and whatever goes on in the world of Magic. So until then, have an amazing week, everyone. And this is the crew signing out.